came to Neighbourhood Church in September of 2005, so we've been here almost a decade. And it was the second church that we tried out in Nanaimo. And it fit for us. We had two very small kids, and it just worked for us. So I was born in Pakistan in 1977, and I was left at a hospital there when I don't know the details, when I was a few months old. And my parents are Canadian, and they were living in Afghanistan, teaching in an embassy school there. And they found out about this baby that was left at the hospital, and they started the process of adopting me. And I don't think that international adoption was the thing that it is now. So it wasn't a normal process, and it was outside of what anybody in the Pakistani government, I think, had been used to. And so my dad had to travel back and forth from Afghanistan to Pakistan quite a few times in order to file the paperwork and see lawyers and go through the steps. And I don't even really know what all the steps were, but to hear him tell it, it was quite a process. And for him, it was amazing because there were so many things. He didn't speak the language. He wasn't familiar with the culture. And so many people came out of the woodwork to help him at the right time. And so I think my parents really felt like it all fell into place, and there was somebody guiding how it all turned out. And when I was 11 months old, on December 25th, 1977, they brought me home to their family. I don't have feelings of abandonment. I don't struggle with thinking that I was left, that I wasn't wanted. I try to view it in the most gracious light, that my parents, whatever their circumstances were, they left me there to give me a shot at a better life. We stayed in Afghanistan for a few more years after they adopted me, and 8 months after I was adopted, they had a little boy. So now they had 4 children, and they stayed teaching and exploring Afghanistan for maybe 2 more years. And then when the Russians invaded, then the Canadian government told them that everybody needed to leave. And so they packed the 4 of us up and moved back to Canada. When we got to Alberta, the Alberta government didn't recognize my adoption, and so my parents had to go through the process of legally adopting me again in Alberta so that I could become a Canadian citizen, which happened when I was 5. As long as I can remember, my parents were Christians, and my grandparents, my whole family was Christian, and so we went to a very small church, and it was 99% family members, and so it was just, I grew up and that's what I wanted. I looked at what they had and it was appealing to me. So I became a Christian, and then I was baptized when I was 12 in my grandparents' backyard. I think it makes it all the easier to accept that God loves us all as His children, and yeah, that we don't have to be born into a family to belong to that family, that family comes in all shapes and sizes. And first and foremost, I'm a mom, so my kids give me great joy, and I think that's a big part of my journey too, was being adopted and then going on to have my own children was really healing for me, or sort of close the loop a little bit. It's hard to explain if you've never had this, but to me, I always felt a little bit disconnected, even though I was connected to my family and they loved me and I loved them. It's hard to describe that feeling that you don't have any blood relatives. So to go on and have my own children was really, really healing for me. And growing up, I never had anybody say, oh, you look just like your sister, or you look just like your mom. And so now to have children that look like me is so special to me.